Have you ever brought home a plant that looked flawless at the garden center, imagined it overflowing with blooms on your porch, and then watched it struggle, droop, or completely give up? I've been there more times than I care to admit. Over years of container gardening, I've learned an important lesson the hard way. Not every beautiful garden flower belongs in a pot. Some plants outgrow containers almost immediately. Others demand constant attention, suffer from pests, or simply never perform the way they do in the ground. In this video, I'm sharing 8 flowers I genuinely regret planting in containers, what went wrong, what I tried to fix, and the better alternatives I'd choose today. 1. Peonies. Peonies are iconic. Their blooms are enormous, lush, and often intensely fragrant. Flowers that instantly command attention. They've been cherished for centuries across cultures, immortalized in paintings, poetry, and garden traditions. Their flowers range from simple and elegant to extravagantly ruffled, appearing in shades of white, blush, coral, deep red, and even rare yellows. When a peony blooms, it feels like an event. These plants are famously long-lived. In the ground, peonies can thrive for decades, growing stronger and more floriferous with time. They prefer temperate climates with cold winters because they rely on a chilling period to form buds. Given the right conditions, they settle in, develop deep, fleshy roots, and reward patience with increasingly spectacular displays. Even after flowering, peonies contribute beauty to the garden. Their foliage remains dense and attractive through summer, forming rich green mounds that add structure to beds. In fall, the leaves may take on bronzy or reddish tones before dying back and resting underground through winter, preparing for the next season. But despite all this, peonies are poor candidates for containers. Their root systems are large and designed to grow deep, not sideways. In pots, those roots quickly become confined, stressed by temperature swings, and unable to store enough energy for reliable blooming. Peonies already take several years to mature, and in containers that timeline stretches even longer. When they do bloom, the flowers are so heavy that stems often flop, making the plant unstable and sometimes even causing pots to tip over. Growing peonies successfully in containers requires oversized, deep pots, excellent drainage, carefully balanced soil, and precise watering. Even then, results are often disappointing compared to plants grown in the ground. They also dislike being disturbed, so repotting or dividing them, a manageable task in garden beds, becomes risky and stressful in containers. Peonies are absolutely worth growing, just not in pots. Planted in the ground with space and sun, they can thrive for generations. If you're after that same romantic, luxurious look in containers, better choices include double begonias, ranunculus, compact shrub roses, or even large flowered dahlias bred specifically for pots. Peonies taught me a valuable lesson. Some plants simply need the environment they were designed for. 2. Dahlias are pure drama. From spiky cactus forms to massive dinner plate blooms, they explode with color in late summer when many other flowers fade. I once imagined my patio lined with pots bursting with dahlias, just like the catalogs promised. But reality was far less glamorous. The first issue is size. Even so-called compact varieties often grow far larger than expected in containers, quickly becoming tall, wide, and unstable. They require staking almost immediately, and larger types are especially problematic. Their blooms are heavy, their stems snap easily, and entire pots can topple in a strong breeze. Their underground tubers add another layer of difficulty. In garden soil, tubers have room to expand naturally. In pots, they crowd together, distort, or rot. Repotting them each season is awkward and rarely improves performance. On top of that, dahlias are extremely demanding when it comes to water and nutrients. In hot weather, I found myself watering container dahlias daily, sometimes twice a day, only to see the soil dry out again hours later. Miss a watering, and the plants wilt dramatically. Overwater, and the tubers suffer. Fertilizing becomes a constant chore since nutrients leach out of pots quickly with frequent watering. Pests also seem to love stressed container dahlias. Spider mites, aphids, thrips, and powdery mildew appear more aggressively when airflow is limited and plants are under strain. Then there's the added work of lifting, curing, and storing tubers every winter, an extra step that feels far less rewarding when the plants never truly thrived in the first place. Dahlias are stunning, but in containers the effort often outweighs the payoff. In garden beds, they perform far better. Stronger growth, larger blooms, fewer problems. If you're determined to try them in pots, stick to true dwarf varieties like the Gallery or Happy Single Series. But full-size or dinner plate dahlias, they remain one of my biggest container growing regrets. 3. Bearded iris. Bearded irises are among the most visually striking flowers a gardener can grow. Their blooms look almost handcrafted, velvety petals arranged in dramatic layers, often accented by a fuzzy beard of contrasting color that gives the plant its name. The range of colors is astonishing. Crisp white, deep violet, rich gold, copper, lavender, and countless two-tone combinations with ruffles, streaks, and edges that seem painted on. When they bloom in spring, typically from late April into May, they can turn an ordinary garden into a living gallery. Each flower stalk produces multiple buds, so the display unfolds over weeks, and some modern varieties even offer a second round of blooms later in the season. Even outside of bloom, bearded irises hold their own. Their upright, sword-like leaves form bold, architectural clumps that add height and structure to garden beds. As the rhizomes spread over time, these clumps grow fuller and more dramatic, making irises valuable as both flowering plants and long-term design elements in the landscape. But despite all this beauty, bearded irises are not well suited to container life. These plants are ground specialists with very specific requirements. Their thick rhizomes are meant to grow horizontally and sit right at the soil surface, exposed to sun and airflow. In a pot, achieving that balance is incredibly difficult. Bury the rhizomes too deeply and they rot. Leave them too exposed and they dry out or fail to anchor properly. Containers also heat up and cool down much faster than garden soil, creating temperature swings that stress the rhizomes and disrupt growth. I learned quickly that irises in pots often look healthy at first. Lots of leaves, plenty of growth, but produce few or no flowers. Even if they bloom the first year, performance usually drops sharply after that. On top of this, bearded irises need to be divided every 3 to 4 years to stay vigorous. In the ground, that process is simple. In containers, it's cramped, messy, and frequently results in damaged rhizomes or weak regrowth. Drainage adds another layer of frustration. Irises demand fast-draining soil, yet pots often create extremes. Soggy conditions at the bottom and overly dry soil near the surface. This imbalance invites rot, fungal issues, and overall poor performance. And while irises love sun, they also rely on consistent warmth to bloom well. Patio pots and partially shaded spots often fail to provide the steady heat their rhizomes need. There's also the issue of height. Bearded iris flower stalks can reach 2 to 3 feet tall, and when those large, heavy blooms open, the plants become top-heavy. In containers, this means constant staking just to keep them upright, turning what should be an elegant display into a maintenance chore. In garden beds, the story is completely different. Given full sun, well-drained soil, and room to spread, bearded irises are incredibly reliable. Once established, they're drought-tolerant, multiply readily, and bloom year after year with minimal care. Their success in the ground makes their struggles in containers even more disappointing. If you love the iris look but want something that works in pots, there are better choices. Dwarf irises, such as Iris reticulata, are far more container-friendly and bloom early with vivid, jewel-toned flowers. You can also achieve a similar vertical, dramatic effect with plants like gladiolus, compact dahlias, or tall salvias, all of which adapt much better to container growing. Bearded irises will always have a place in my garden beds, where they thrive with ease. But in containers, they've earned their spot on my regret list. They're stunning plants, just not meant to live in pots. 4. Hybrid tea roses. Hybrid tea roses are the true prima donnas of the garden. At their best, they're breathtaking. Tall, elegant stems crowned with large, perfectly shaped blooms that look almost unreal. These are the roses people imagine when they think of romance. The stars of wedding bouquets, Valentine's Day arrangements, and classic rose gardens. One plant can produce deep velvety reds, soft creams, glowing yellows, rich oranges, or complex blends that shift color as the petals unfurl. And the fragrance. When you get a strongly scented variety, it can stop you in your tracks. On the surface, hybrid tea roses seem like ideal candidates for containers. The idea of placing one on a patio or porch, where you can admire it up close, breathe in the perfume, and snip flowers for a vase, sounds perfect. Unfortunately, reality tells a different story. In pots, hybrid tea roses quickly reveal just how demanding they truly are. The first major issue is their root system. Hybrid teas are usually grafted and naturally vigorous, with roots that want to spread deeply and widely. In the ground, those roots search out water and nutrients, supporting repeated flushes of blooms. In a container, no matter how large, that freedom disappears. The plant becomes root-bound, stressed, and visibly weaker over time. Blooms become fewer and smaller, canes lose vigor, and the rose often looks tired after its first season. Even oversized containers rarely solve the problem for long. Watering becomes another constant challenge. Hybrid tea roses need steady moisture, but they absolutely cannot tolerate soggy soil. In containers, soil dries out far faster than it does in garden beds. During hot weather, potted roses may need watering twice, or even 3 times, a day just to stay upright. Miss a single watering and the plant wilts dramatically. Overdo it and the roots risk rotting. This delicate balance turns into non-stop monitoring, which quickly becomes exhausting. Feeding requirements add to the workload. Hybrid teas are heavy feeders that rely on regular fertilization to keep blooming. In the ground, nutrients remain available longer. In pots, every watering washes nutrients away, leaving the plant hungry unless you're extremely consistent with feeding. Watering, fertilizing, pruning, deadheading. It becomes a relentless cycle, and the joy of growing roses can fade into obligation. Then come the pests and diseases. Hybrid tea roses are infamous for attracting problems. Aphids, spider mites, Japanese beetles, black spot, powdery mildew, rust. The list goes on. In garden beds, good airflow and beneficial insects can help keep issues in check. In containers, stressed plants are far more vulnerable. I found myself constantly inspecting leaves, spraying treatments, and fighting infestations that never seemed to end. Few things are more discouraging than watching a carefully tended bud get destroyed overnight. Winter adds yet another complication. Hybrid tea roses are less cold-hardy than many other rose types, especially when grafted. In the ground, soil insulates their roots. In containers, those roots are exposed to freezing temperatures and repeated freeze-thaw cycles. Unless the pot is heavily insulated or moved to a protected location, winter losses are common. Even with extra precautions, I've lost container-grown hybrid teas after harsh seasons. When planted in the ground, hybrid tea roses can be magnificent. With proper care, they bloom repeatedly, respond beautifully to pruning, and provide armfuls of stunning cut flowers. But they simply aren't suited to the confined, unstable conditions of container growing. If you love the idea of roses in pots, there are far better options. Patio roses, miniature roses, floribundas, and many shrub roses adapt much more easily to container life. They stay compact, handle limited root space, and still offer plenty of color and fragrance, without the constant drama. Hybrid tea roses will always have a place in traditional rose beds and bouquets, but trying to force them into containers was a mistake I won't repeat. In that setting, they demand far more than they give, turning a beautiful idea into ongoing frustration. 5. Lilies are among the most striking flowers a gardener can grow. Their tall, upright stems rise like sculptures, crowned with large, trumpet-shaped blooms that look almost unreal. It's no wonder lilies have symbolized beauty, elegance, and purity for centuries. The variety is immense. Asiatic lilies with bold, clean colors, oriental lilies with huge, intensely fragrant flowers, trumpet lilies with dramatic flared petals, and countless hybrids that blend these traits. Planted in the ground, lilies are unforgettable, adding height, drama, and sophistication to the summer garden. Naturally, I thought bringing that beauty closer, in a container on my patio, would be a great idea. The vision was perfect, sitting outside while a pot of lilies bloomed nearby, filling the air with fragrance. And at first, it worked. The bulbs sprouted quickly, the stems shot upward, and the flowers were stunning. But after that first season, the reality of growing lilies in pots began to unravel. The most immediate problem is their size. Lilies are not compact plants. Depending on the type, they can reach anywhere from 2 to 6 feet tall, often towering over the container that holds them. While that height is impressive, it also makes them unstable. Wind, heavy rain, or even a light bump can send a pot tipping over. I spent far too much time staking stems, adding supports, and weighing down containers just to keep them upright, always feeling like I was working against their natural growth habit. Their growth cycle adds another layer of frustration. Lilies grow from bulbs, and once flowering ends, the plant naturally goes dormant. In the garden, that's no issue. The bulbs rest underground, protected by soil and mulch until the next season. In containers, dormancy leaves you with bare, lifeless pots for months. Unless you dig up the bulbs and store them properly, you're left staring at empty containers taking up space. Even when I went through the trouble of lifting and storing bulbs, they weakened over time and never matched their first-year performance. Water management in pots is another constant challenge. Lilies need steady moisture, but they are extremely sensitive to soggy soil. In garden beds, excess water drains away easily. In containers, that balance is far harder to achieve. Let the soil dry out too much, and the bulbs suffer. Keep it too wet, and they rot. Despite careful attention, I still lost bulbs to decay by the second season, simply because containers exaggerate moisture extremes. Pests and diseases also become more problematic in pots. The notorious red lily beetle can quickly defoliate plants, and in containers, lilies are easy targets. Fungal problems like botrytis blight also thrive when airflow is limited. I found myself checking plants daily, hand-picking beetles and treating disease, yet the lilies often looked tired and damaged by mid-season. Even the fragrance can become an issue. Oriental lilies are famously perfumed, but in close quarters, like a patio or small seating area, the scent can be overwhelming. What begins as lovely can quickly feel overpowering, especially in still evening air. I ended up moving pots away from where we sat just to make the space comfortable again. Winter survival is another serious concern. Bulbs in the ground are insulated by soil, but bulbs in containers are exposed to harsh freeze-thaw cycles. Without moving pots to shelter or heavily insulating them, winter losses are common. For me, that meant hauling heavy containers into garages or burying them under mulch. Far more effort than the plants justified. In garden beds, lilies are a completely different story. They settle in, multiply naturally, and produce stronger displays year after year. They weave beautifully into perennial borders, pair well with shrubs, and provide lasting structure and fragrance to the landscape. Containers simply don't offer the conditions they need to thrive long-term. If you love the look of lilies in pots, dwarf Asiatic varieties or compact Oriental hybrids bred specifically for containers are much better options. They stay shorter, remain stable, and perform reliably for a few seasons. But traditional tall lilies? I regret every attempt to force them into pots. Their beauty comes with too much instability, maintenance, and disappointment when confined to containers.